Welcome to Creators Cafe. I'm your host, Jessica Payne. I'm a performer, performance coach, and multi-hyphenate creator. I'm going to be bringing you conversations with some of my favorite creators where we talk about the sublime and the specifics of the creative journey. So grab a drink, get cozy. Let's go. My guest, Gabrielle Thomas, is a director and producer based in LA. She works across film, TV, commercials, and music videos. Gabrielle was the creative director at Alienware and an executive at Skybound Entertainment. Now she's working as a digital specialist and director. Gabrielle directed the beautiful short film Hunger, which explored our industry's dark and challenging side, and then completely switched gears to direct God of Work for G4, a hilarious office mockumentary about video game heroes between gigs. Gabrielle is an incredibly versatile creative. She has directed stop-motion commercials, beautiful music videos, and a post-apocalyptic drama starring children. Gabrielle produced the podcast The San Miguel Kidnappings, which was recently nominated for a Clue Award and featured in Variety. For animation fans, she directed and co-wrote the upcoming live show that goes with the Spike and Mike Extravaganza, which is hitting theaters soon. Gabrielle has been an incredible mentor to me. She taught me how to be a great AD. She modeled being a great producer when we worked together on Rob Koteki's psychological thriller Safe and Sound. And just this past weekend, we were together making high-end apparel look amazing in a night shoot in a warehouse. She's just one of those people I always want to work with. I always want to be on set with. Please enjoy my inspiring conversation with my friend, Gabrielle Thomas. Okay, today I have my guest, Gabrielle Thomas, who I'm so excited to talk to. It's so good to see you. And so cheers and welcome to Creators Cafe, Gabrielle Thomas. Cheers.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. What are you drinking today?
This is a Celsius. It's a Celsius. I don't know if anyone can see it. Yeah.
Nice.
It's
nice.
Watermelon flavor. Watermelon? Yeah, it's a sponsor.
We were talking about, I really feel like Celsius is having a moment right now. It's on a lot of sets, and I've had it because Kyle works at a gym, and so I've had it for a few years, and now I feel like everybody is riding the Celsius wave. So they're doing something.
It's in
right.
every like crafty green room like fridge has one now.
Exactly.
So that's
and
great.
I've got my latte from Andante. I went there this morning. Yeah, very good.
Nice.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So I met you last year in your role as a producer, but you do all the things. So we'll talk about that later. But I love how smart you are, how driven you are, how creative you are, how fun you are on a set, how you do the great job of like driving the set, but also letting us all have a great time on set. And not everybody can do that. Very few people can do that. And so I just appreciate you, and you're in my club forever. So today I want to talk about you as an artist navigating everything that we're all going through, because you have a background in the kind of traditional film world training, but now you've found a lot of success, weaving that path from commercial production to really killing it in digital and in animation. You are a director at heart, but you're also freaking hilarious as an actor and performer. And like the fact that your work that you create is so like heartfelt and gritty, but then you can also direct something that's just hilarious. Your range is really, really astounding and beautiful. And I'm excited to get into it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, it's all true. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true.
Well, I have to plug you for a moment. I did meet you as like somebody who's like, I'm willing to help in whatever capacity. I was like, great, you have the hardest job on set. Be our assistant director. And you're like, great, I've not done that. And I'm like, cool, you're going to be great. And you went above and beyond, and you listened, and you like buttoned up everything. And it was just really, I love working with women on set, and it's, not just saying like only women, but you took the ball and you ran with it, and you drove it home, and you were so able to absorb egos on set and like be able to like, okay guys, like, yeah, let's keep going. And it was nice to have someone I could trust, even if you were new, even if you were like, I don't really know what I'm doing. You were super capable of like keeping a lid on things and also keeping propulsion, and that's the gold, right? And I know you were like, this isn't really my wheelhouse, but it was really cool to see how much you were able to, like, the flexibility, the like, I just want to be on set and I just want to help. That's what filmmaking is, and I love when the collaboration comes together like that. So that's my plug for you, Jessica. You're fantastic, and your mentorship is amazing. So, you know,
Thank you.
That's my plug.
I appreciate it wildly. Thank you. Well, and I think that is the kind of thing that I know has stopped me in the past is I've never done this before, right? Like I've been on, how many sets have I been on? How many, like I've directed, something. I've directed, it's now in the hundreds. But like I've never officially had someone hand me the title of assistant director. I've never officially been trained how to do this. And so, you know, it's one of those, I think a lot of us let the officialness stop us and hold us back from doing the thing that we would be good at and might enjoy. So I really appreciate your patience in training me and in helping me kind of like dive right into it and just go. And it was amazing because the people that we got to work with were incredible and are, you know, doing things that are under.
And we did it.
And we did it. You know, we did it in time in very like intense, short circumstances. It was great. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, so I want to start with like what got you into film, because your passion for film is like visceral. First of all, tell me about your, like, those of us that grew up with Blockbuster. I feel like you are the like true unsung hero of keeping that life going. So tell us, let's start off with like your love, deep love of film.
I do. It's something that I think it was like a family experience for a really long time. It was just, we legitimately went to Blockbuster like like it was like Tuesday we go to Blockbuster, Thursday we go to Blockbuster. Sometimes we'd go on Sunday, and then you'd have Tuesday, and then you'd have Thursday. And it was on our way home. It was something we did religiously. My parents were like very big. Like we got TiVo when it came out. It was like this huge proponent of, my mom wanted me to have a fully rounded like film background, which is interesting because there's no other reason besides she's just like, I don't want you to be one of those kids who doesn't know what like Star Wars is or doesn't know what like Animal House is. Like she had this mentality of like, you have to be a cool like cinema fan. And because of that, I got like incredible, like Mork and Mindy. I watched all of that, Star Trek. Like as a kid, there was just like way too much exposure to things that adults will be like, you watched all of Cheers? I was like, yeah, when I was like 9. Like it's just,
I loved Cheers. I was like the weird little kid that loved Cheers. I'm so glad you loved that too.
And I had a TV in my bedroom. I like was a chronic insomniac as a kid because I just was like, I was pumped full of energy all the time, not Celsius, but you know, sugar, just a lot of it. And so I had a TV and I'd stay up and I'd watch movies and shows, and it really became like a family thing. Anytime we had a family holiday, all of us would go to the movie theaters together, and it was like every day we go to a movie. I used to do triple features with my friends in high school. I was in film club, and I never really thought of it as like a career. My aunt used to call me like Mrs. Hollywood, like that's Miss Hollywood over there, because I'd wear these huge shades and I'd just like sit, like just be like a poser, I guess, when I was a kid. And I really didn't even think it was a thing. I did a bunch of photography, a lot of photography as a kid. I won a photography competition. Again, didn't even think of this as like a career. Super STEM-oriented family, like computers, technology. Like you're going to be somebody over there. And went to college and just, I hated it. I did not like it, and just naturally found myself on film sets. And this like love of physical media started then. Did you hear all of the honking in the background? I just want to make sure.
It's
great.
I mean, absolutely. It's very real. Yes. Welcome to LA.
But that started because when I switched into film, like as a college choice, as like a filmmaker, I started working with physical like cameras, like actual film media. And it made me a better filmmaker, like immediately, like understanding exposure, understanding like 35 millimeter, what's going on. And because of that, I became even more obsessed with collecting DVDs and CDs and VHSs. And so now I really champion like the rental stores in LA. There are only a couple left. Vidiot's is a really well-known one, but my love is Videotech, which is in Highland Park. It's a little scrappier. It's a little home run, but I think everyone should spend their time going to these stores that still exist, because I'm not a huge fan of giving money to some of the major streamers. And, you know, if I get to help a guy named Mark out with his store that has cats in it, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I'm also the weirdo who goes to like Toronto or New York or somewhere and finds the video rental stores so that I bring like a DVD player with me. I just sit in, if I have nothing to do, I'll watch a movie in my own place with a rental from a city I don't live in. So.
I love it. I think there's something about, we underestimate our passions and how like the thing that makes us weird is the thing that makes us special. And the fact that you take a DVD player to other countries and then go find their DVDs and watch them in your hotel room. Like, I just don't, I'm surrounded by film people and I've never heard anybody say they do that. But I love it. I love it because that's like, it's not like something you have to force yourself to do, right? I think there's something about like, we try to make ourselves like the perfect picture that we see in our head, but you're like, no, this is, if I am alone by myself in a room, this is what I'm doing. If I go to a different place, this is what I'm doing.
Oh, and it's kind of this like allergic reaction I watched a lot of like Nora Ephron and like 90s and 80s, and my mom worked really hard on giving me like pop culture knowledge, right? Like I've seen most pop culture movies, and in the film world, as you like climb up this ladder, right, you get, especially as a woman, a lot of like, what movies do you know are directed by women? And you're just like, what does that have to do with the skill I have? And so I started feeling really bad about my own film education. So this became like my coping strategy of like, I won't be caught with my pants down ever again. I'm going to watch every movie. So if I'm ever in a room with a bunch of very powerful men who I admire in some capacity and they're starting to be like, you haven't seen this film, you haven't seen this film, my reaction is, okay, I'm going to watch it tonight and I'm going to talk to you about it tomorrow. And that seems to be the fastest way to cut through some of these like posturings that I found. Anyways.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, I am so far out of my league when you start talking with the depth of knowledge you have with other friends. Robin was on the podcast last season. And I remember there was one time I was just sitting there drinking my drink and you two went off for like 40 minutes and I hadn't even heard of a lot of the movies you were talking about, and you had very detailed opinions about these things you had watched a decade ago. And I love that. I respect that. And I think it's so cool. And I see in your work, I've been very honored to get to watch all of your shorts that you've done and some of your music videos and some of your directing work, that you have this like deep knowledge of the visual style and the feel of things. And I think that's what's really cool is there's a lot of people who have like basic filmmaking techniques, but they can do one thing. And I think you work across genres really well. So why don't we start off with Deserted, because that's very like the thriller sci-fi aspect is very like clean in that one. And it's so, what I'm impressed by is I'm very good at complicated and I'm not very good at simple. And I think you do a really good job of making a clean story in that one that's told in a very powerful way. So can you talk about that one?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that one started, Deserted as like a project is this like kind of behemoth behind a little tiny thing. So I started it as like, when I first moved to LA, I got asked to write a horror feature in like 48 hours. And, you know, when you're 20 and you move to LA and you're like, oh my God, this is my shot. So, you know, you call a friend and you're staying up all night drinking coffee, trying to write a feature, which at the time was called Deserted, which was about like witches in the desert. So completely different than where the short ended up. But, you know, I spent all this time making it. I wasn't happy with it. I sent it out for notes. I didn't like it. And I just kind of put it to bed. And then I, you know, made my other shorts and I worked on other projects and people were like, well, you really need to have a short that could become a feature. And I was like, well, okay, I'll make a short for this concept of the desert driving at night, because that's kind of where Deserted started, is just I drove alone to LA with just my cat and my car at 20. And I didn't know anybody in LA. And so I had really never even been in a desert before because I'm from Chicago. So I was like, this place is so freaky, and it's night, and there's nothing out there. and I'm just like a single lady, just if anything goes wrong, like
just rocking in the desert in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh.
So I'm like listening to, you know, like Pink Floyd and Daft Punk in the desert, and just kind of thinking about like what would happen if I had to like pull over and like use one of these call boxes, because I had never seen a call box before. And it's like the central aspect of the short is this woman gets trapped kind of in a time loop around a call box. And I kind of remembered this moment and was like, that can't be that hard to shoot. And then it turned into, that's really hard to shoot. And I wrote a 3-page script thinking, it can't be that expensive. It's 3 pages. There's no like dialogue in it. There's only one actor. But we ended up shooting day for night in the middle of Kern County, above like Andrews Air Force Base. We had a car rig, like a full, what we would call a shitty rig, right? Like the poor man's rig of like a U-Haul 10 box truck carrying like a flatbed with my car on it. And we're shooting like sunlight into our actor's face so that we can stop down and do day for night. So it was like, it became this huge thing. It was 4 days in the desert instead of just like 1 day for 3 pages. It became a behemoth, and it was like a lot of people going above and beyond, driving 4 hours out of town, like staying in like the creepiest motels and like eating Subway for every meal because that's all that's available.
Yeah.
So,
wow. You wouldn't, honestly, that one, I thought like, wow, this is really, like you fooled me actually, because I know everything is harder than it looks. But I was like, oh, that's so smart. One shot, you know, like one actor, one car, one location in the desert. I fell into the same trap. That's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I really enjoyed making it. And it was in the midst of a lot of other really big projects in my life. So it is one of the things that I look back on, and sometimes I just go, like, I just know if I had had more time and more ability to like focus on it, there were things that I would have tightened up. And I think that's kind of every filmmaker does that, right? The 7 minutes of perfection is all you're looking for. You're chasing, oh, I really like it. And then 7 minutes later, you're like, I hate it. And I don't know why I made it. Like that's, I come in full circles with it.
Yeah.
It's been a really big project for me because it's the first project of mine that was on like an actual theatrical screen that I got to watch with other people who are strangers. So Deserted has a really special place in my heart as just like, it was a learning short. I learned a lot making it. And I think a lot of filmmakers think that their short needs to be, especially right now, their short needs to be a scene from their feature. It has to be, we got to make a feature out of it. And honestly, like, Deserted's not going to be a feature anytime soon. I've rewritten that thing a million times. It's my like rosebud. Honestly, I'm going to be on my deathbed and be like Deserted and like die or something. But that project to me, invaluable. I learned how to work with really, really, really talented people, like our cinematographer, our VFX artist, like our composer. Everybody involved was so talented that the experience was me learning how to do these things. Like I never done any car shoot, so to this capacity of like rigging and like mounting and having learning day for night from somebody who apprenticed under the Knives Out DP, like that was a really big deal to me. And getting to see like the difference between people who are really passionate about a project and the difference between like, oh, I'll just do it because there's money. Like that was interesting because there's things happen on shorts all the time, right? Like on a small set, anything can go wrong, or everything did go wrong that could go wrong. And it was just, I value that experience. Sometimes you have set experiences that you try to black out, and that one is just, there was everything. Everything went wrong, but everything got handled in a way that I'm like, this is experience, this is growth. Like I know how to deal with these situations. And now in like smaller sets for clients who are crazy or something, you know, you get to sit there and be like, it's not that big a deal. You know, we're not being shot at in the middle of like the desert because no one let the shooting range know, you know, like, so
Yep.
it's a little different.
Love that for us.
That's chill. That's fine.
It
yeah,
worked,
just the stage. We had a state trooper literally pull up. They're like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Oh, we have a film. We have a permit." Like da 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 da. And my AD is dealing with it, and then she turns around. She comes over. She just goes, "Yeah, so they're shooting guns this way. They're gonna stop now, but they've been shooting this direction this whole time." And we were like, "What?" Because we were on a deserted road. Per the name of the short, but like it was, we didn't know. We could kind of see people really far away,
Yeah. And if they're just people far away, you don't think they're going to shoot at you in the desert.
I don't know the last time you were in the middle of nothing, right? In the middle of a desert of nothing. Yeah. The sound is swallowed. So we weren't hearing gunshots. It's just, you don't hear anything. It's just like howling in your ears. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. I also wanted to ask you about Hunger, which was a short film that you starred in, and it felt really personal and deep, and it had some like it has a like dramatic psychological aspect and also involved with the business, and it just felt very real. And I loved it, and it hurt to watch. So what was the process of writing and then starring in that one? Because it's very different if you write something funny or cute or aspirational versus like, here's my stuff, let's go.
Yeah. At this time when I wrote it, because I made this last year, so it's pretty new, but it's also like filmmaking at the speed I run. It feels like it's like 3-4 years ago, even though it's been a year. I was in a really bad spot. The strikes, I had decided to become an independent filmmaker and like left my job, and then the strikes happened, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna survive. And I'm taking all these meetings, some with like directors I look up to, some of them with producers, and I'll pause for this.
Waiting for sirens because
sorry.
Welcome to LA. Cheers.
I live in downtown, and there's like a hospital a block away. Cheers. Yeah. But I was looking for mentorship, and I was only finding mentorship basically through like executive men, which was kind of tough because I know that there's not a lot of women at the directing level up top, and their time is so limited, and it's really not like, I'm not putting any blame on like, I couldn't find a woman to tell me what to do. It's more like, that's not how this industry is right now. Like it's very difficult. And the women who are kind of out there doing it are so booked because they're also a woman. And sometimes people are just like, we need a woman director. And so they're busy, and it's great. And I love it. It's just so hard to get mentorship one-on-one with them. So I had to go a little bit sideways. And when you are being mentored by men, that's how you get the situation where it's like, you don't know enough female filmmakers. You don't do this. You don't, like, oh, you don't know this movie. And it just becomes very film bro-y. And I had to really deal with kind of being put in, like, I look young. So I was constantly being put in this like position of like, you're going to figure it out. Just keep trying. Like, you've got the stuff, but just keep trying. And it gets really hard when you're at your lowest point to be told like, oh, you're close, just keep going. Like, I've had so many people be like, oh, you're fine, you're always going to be fine, you've made it this far. Like, and I know that it's supposed to be encouraging, but when you're a creative person who is like, I'll write this next thing and maybe it'll be the thing, and I'll write this next thing and maybe it'll be the thing, or I'll make this thing, maybe it'll be the thing. And in filmmaking, it's always favors, it's always asking the people you know. And it can get really hard because you want them to have success. You want them to get paid. And so when you make these projects that go nowhere, right? Like if you make a movie and it never comes out anywhere and gets rejected from all your film festivals, it on paper feels like a failure, and it's not. And so I got back from like a mentorship and really, really struggled with it because I basically got like the pat on the hand. That scene's real. That scene is so real because it is real. It's a legitimate conversation over fries that was like, hey, I think you're really talented, but it's just not your time. And I was getting tired of being told that by people who came up in like the 90s, 80s, and 70s, as if today you can really just go out and make features and get eyes on it. As if like, if I made a feature right now, I could just magically have a bunch of people watch it. And that's just not how it works right now. So Hunger was me dealing with like my own body dysmorphia because I get judged by how I look in this industry so much, I walk into a room and people assume I'm just an actress, and I've literally, you saw the thing I acted in, like that's it really. So, I was just getting really, really bogged down with my own like identity as a filmmaker, and like, how do you break through? How do I sit in these meetings with these people that I'm actually able to meet? And how do you walk away feeling like you didn't you didn't give up a piece of yourself in order to like try to stay in their brains or their conversations. I don't want to go and sit at a bar and like flirt with somebody and then be known as like the girl who flirted with the guy, and like she's trying to get something out of it. And whether or not you flirted or not, they could still walk away and say it about you. So Hunger was really, really tough. I made it for no money. Every single person involved, every location was free. And it was because we all felt this way. It wasn't,
Yeah.
It's not a singular experience for women. There are plenty of men going through the exact same thing. It's just I felt like I was starving myself literally because I couldn't feed myself. I was starving myself creatively because there was nothing coming to mind. And then, I just felt the like horror that everyone in this industry was feeling of like, what's our future? Like, and is it really looking to like, sorry again, the old white dude who's in charge of this studio? Do I really have to like kiss his hand and like, stroke his ego in order to get anything done, which is just like a heartbreaking thing as an artist. So
yeah.
Is that good? Is that the answer?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I felt the whole time when I was watching it. What did it feel cathartic to make it, or did it feel like you just like sat in it more, or a little bit of both?
We made it in 3 weeks. That entire thing is 3 weeks. I wrote it my last day in Toronto, and I got back and I called everyone because I'd been kind of like told to make it, right? Like everyone's like, make it.
Yeah.
And got a deadline for like, get it done by the end of the month, prove that you can do it. Again, just another test, right? Like someone's testing me to make sure I can do the job. And I called everyone, they read it, and it was like really emotional. I'm not so much of the type of director who's like hoity-toity about what they write, but I really did do almost like a Christopher Nolan and sit everyone down and watch them read it, because I knew it was really dark. Like it's not a happy script. So I kind of held the hands of everybody I was asking to chip in for free during a really tough time and when everybody didn't have anything going on. And people, my producer called 28 grocery stores and trying to get us that grocery store scene because it's just free. And we got it because he's a Dodgers fan, which is again, a very LA, like they were like, oh, you're a Dodgers fan? Yeah, you could do this. And we were like, what? So
that's amazing.
I don't remember the question, but it's
just the catharsis. It was, I asked about catharsis, but it sounds like it was more like it was almost a like, everybody pulled together during a hard time, and so it felt good to make it and to talk about it. The
scene where I cry, like people on set cried. Like it was like a very emotional set, and everyone tried really hard to do like and make it a reality, and that's why it's like it's very powerful that it's like my first short into a international festival. And it got to screen. Like, it was crazy to see it screen. Anyways, it was very cathartic. It was kind of spiteful. I kind of made it angry at the industry. And then I forced it into festivals so that people who are in these positions, who are putting people in these positions, were kind of forced to watch it. So that was, I did enjoy kind of the like, now go eat what you made me make, like. You have to sit in uncomfortable silence for 7 minutes as you watch a young filmmaker really go through it and not survive, because you're killing artists is the truth.
Yeah. It's very powerful. They're going to not eat fries the same, hopefully.
Yeah.
You got to somebody. You got to somebody for sure. Yeah. Okay. So you have this path where you're kind of what we would call like a traditional independent filmmaker. And that is well known for people in the industry of what that might look like. It's changing. It's what it actually looks like isn't what anyone I know is actually doing. But there is still this kind of romanticized, this is what it looks like. But you've also had this real success in the digital world. Can you talk about how you first got into that path and how you've bounced around and kind of, chutes and ladders, like you've climbed kind of diagonal ladders to get to interesting places and in cool rooms. How did that start, and what has that journey been like for you?
I think I'm going to start by saying we all know the word content, and like it's kind of been the earworm, and it's the ups and downs of the industry. We're all trying to make content or something for people to watch to grab the attention of the masses. And there are so many ways for people to watch things today. And I had to really like look at why I make things. And I worked in commercials in like TV for a while, and that was great. And then when everything with the pandemic started, it became harder and harder for, it felt like TV and traditional to really support new people. Mm-hmm. So when I was in the commercial world, I started looking at like opportunities, because I'm an opportunist, and that's how I like find the chutes and the ladders, right? Is like I wanted a place where I could grow, even if it was like a step down on a ladder. I could see like a path up, and that really came to be with G4 TV. So G4 was relaunching their channel, their TV channel.
And if somebody doesn't know, can you explain what G4 is? Yeah.
G4 used to be a gaming network channel back in, it like launched in 98, and then it went through several rounds of different names, but it's a gaming variety channel. So you have like almost like SNL variety sketches about like game pop culture and like just general, I would say, geeky pop culture. And then the show I worked on was called X-Play, and it was more of like the news, and like we do bits about the news and like the game releases. So it was a little bit different, not so much live variety. It was a lot of sketch comedy. So I got offered a production coordinator position there, and I was like, this is really a step down, and it's a pay step back. And like I was super nervous. I was literally working on a McDonald's commercial while I'm like doing this. And I was like, am I being silly? Like, am I being, is this worth it? But, you know, sometimes in digital, because it existed on YouTube and it existed on Twitch, and it was doing these like brand new things, like trying to make TV for Twitch. And I saw that, and I saw kind of like the chaos of what this looks like when sorry, my cat just jumped at the window. Cool.
Go buttons, go. Stay.
But like I saw the opportunity to get what I wanted, which was I wanted to direct, and I wanted to produce, and I had already been producing, and I just knew that if I went in there with like day one, I walked in, we were already shooting something, which always gets me excited. And I realized like, oh, I might have like the most set experience. Like I know how to AD, I know how to put all this together. And everybody else is super talented writers or super talented game commentary people on our team, but they're not execution people. So when people are looking at their career and they are like, I don't want to work on Twitch, or I don't want to work on YouTube, or I don't want to be a TikTok star, or, you know, I don't want to do verticals, which for people who don't know, verticals is like anything vertical. So Instagram, Twitter, whatever. That's a self ID. You can say, I don't ever want to be in those industries, but you might end up like a lot of people I know who are successful, really talented TV writers or showrunners, or there are a lot of people who are stuck because we had a huge contraction, which I'm sure so many people have talked about. But when there's a contraction like this, you have to pivot, which is why I found myself in a really good position. And I would recommend any young filmmaker do a similar thing. Like if you want to be a TV writer, do everything possible to be anywhere in the industry. Even if you're like, I don't want to work on a game show. I worked on Wheel of Fortune, guys. Like I was a PA on Wheel of Fortune, you know? So like.
That's kind of awesome. I know that sounds like I also did, I did this crazy thing, but that's kind of awesome. Did you spin the wheel?
Oh yeah, it's really heavy. It's really heavy. It's like a ton or something. Oh my gosh. I can like hear like my Wheel of Fortune friends are going to call and they're like, it's not a ton. It's actually, it's 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So. But I really, really, really found myself not liking being like a digital person. Okay. Because I was like, oh, this is less than, right? Like I'm stepping down. Like I should be in TV or film. And that's just, I just want to make stuff. And if I'm just going to follow where I can keep making stuff. And then that's what I'd encourage any and everybody who wants to be a filmmaker to any degree. Mm-hmm. Don't get caught up in like the like posturing. Don't get caught up in like the what's it, like the
facade,
the
mask,
the facade, because if you really want to do it, which you're so passionate about film, it's like, you really want to do it, then just keep doing it. And not to quote Seth Rogen, but he's right, like, people who last are the people who will find any way to keep being here. And that's been true for me and everyone I watch in this industry who's come up with me. And now I have interns and like assistants, and I'm watching them do a very similar thing, and watching them try to like put their fingers in all the pies. I'm like, that's the right move. You don't want to be someone who's stuck, in one spot for 7 years anymore. Not in this industry, because you might not have anywhere to go.
That form might not exist in 7 years.
That form might not exist. That studio might be swallowed whole. That company might be gone. Like, that technology might be gone. Like, we don't know. That's why I've lasted so long in digital, is I think that is part of the future. And I don't know what it looks like in terms of like TV, film, and digital getting smashed together, but I do really have hope that with our creator content forward influencer brains, there's gonna be, I think, an indie revolution of some kind once we figure out what that looks like and how we can support people telling stories on a bigger scale. I think we will. So like Mubi is like one of these things I have a lot of hope for.
Okay.
They're distribution for indie. They only buy and distro indie, so the substance wouldn't have had distribution in the United States had Mubi not got it and then distributed it in South America, and it did so well that it basically is why the movie got even an Oscar nom. So it's like, those are the things we have to look out for. YouTube is one of the best distribution platforms. Nobody knows how the algorithm works though, so it's like, good luck.
Yeah, it is. I find it really exciting because I'm a big believer that like the format has things that go along with it, but it's also just a tool. It's just the way that people see it. And, if you've got a negative reaction to that, it's probably you're putting your assumptions of what you see other people doing on it, not what it could be for you. And so it feels, I don't know, it feels pretty limiting when people just judge that. Because I'm like, well, just because you don't like what has happened doesn't mean you can't use it in a useful, leveraging kind of way to create the kind of things you want more easily. Yeah.
Which kind of ties into my, like, I went to a bunch of film festivals this past year just because I wanted more exposure and meet more people who are doing a similar thing to me. And I saw just like, in animation specifically, people were being told to make full, pilots on YouTube, and they're students, or, they have been unemployed for 10 months because this industry has been really, really rough. And it's so disheartening when people don't want to support someone's idea anymore. Like, we have this huge fear in the industry from execs. They are no longer willing to take risks, which I think is how you get the best films. Like, the 90s it was all risk. They're just like, go for it, make anything, like, let's go. And some of the best movies, I think, of the last like 30 years are still 90s movies. And I stand by that.
And you've seen all the movies, so I trust you.
Oh my God. Please don't tell people that. They'll be like, you haven't seen this movie. But yeah, YouTube offers this like ability to distro, but doesn't offer financing. So we're in a really tough situation for animation specifically. And I hope we can find a path that's not just Kickstarter for upcoming animation, because it's been very difficult. And as someone who's like championing a lot of adult animation recently and like trying to get adult animated shorts in front of people, it's hard when I see these emails that go out to like Disney or Hulu or Netflix or something, and they've looked at all of our shorts and they're just kind of like, that's great. And you're like, okay, but what did you think? And they're just like, that's cool. Yeah. And then it's like, that shouldn't be a dead end. That's, for so long, the way into animation was you make an animated short and then you could become like a TV director or storyboard artist or like something in the industry. And now it's just kind of like, cool, that's nice, I'll write their name down. You're like, so talent is also really difficult right now.
Yep. So one of your most recent projects that is coming out is an animated movie of shorts that also has an in-person aspect that you've directed and co-wrote. Can you talk about that? Because I think that's such an interesting blending of the like live event created non-traditionally, putting shorts together so people can like create at the scale they can create at individually, and then putting it into something that has more momentum as a crowd and as a group than we could have individually. I think that model is a really cool model for other people to look at too. What is this project and what was it like making it?
So this is the Spike and Mike Extravaganza, which is Spike and Mike is a legacy adult animated film festival. So it started in the 70s and championed basically everyone you know in adult animation. Matt and Trey, Tim Burton, Craig McCracken. Literally the list is just anyone you could think of. Pete Docter, like everyone submitted shorts to this because there was no place for it. And it used to be an in-person festival that was like a party in the crowd. People would have beach balls. People would be doing things that are illegal, like drinking drinking and smoking weed.
Fair.
But it was this very cool kind of celebration of the weird and the wacky and the like things that nobody wants to see. And this is before we had adult animated shows, so it was like this really gross place to see just like off-color shorts. You know, like we talk about Disney artists drawing like dicks and like boobs and like sex scenes with the characters. It's like that's where this stuff went. It would live and breathe in these spaces of just like this is a really weird short or it's a really funny short, but it would never, Disney would have no interest in, you know, nobody wants this. And out of it birthed like Nickelodeon and Adult Swim and Cartoon Network was pivoting. Like it was a huge inspiration culture shift for animation, and they kind of died off when Mike passed away, and so kind of fell out because, you know, the digital revolution happened, and these were shorts that were on film. So, like, it was difficult for it to transition into the 21st century as age and all the other factors kind of catch up to you. So Skybound bought the library and got a bunch of new short submissions, and kind of was like, what do we want to do with this? And they wanted to make this big program to showcase new artists, new short films that are still weird, wacky, and maybe wouldn't find a home in like a traditional festival. So we went and we gathered a bunch of shorts from a bunch of artists of varying levels, you know, like student to like this person's a professional who's already doing this, like just to show people. We're hoping that we can have these like, you know, 3 days in theaters. It's a 90-minute program where Jaden Animations from YouTube and Rubber Ross from YouTube are our hosts, and they've championed all of like this digital animation. And it's weird and it's wacky, and it's just us trying to showcase talent. And we're really hoping it can help people feel like it's not, that you're not doing it for nothing, and that people still really want to see your weird stuff. People still want to see new and indie artists, and that's kind of why we made it. Is we're just hoping that we can keep the spirit up, and hopefully maybe there's like a TV show one day from one of the shorts. You know, like that's the dream. But it's really been nice to tell people, because when I did this festival tour and I went to Annecy, the International Animation Festival, and even talking about Spike and Mike there, it was so sweet because there were people who remember it, and then there are like the young upcoming artists who are just so excited to have a place to go, and to like feel like you can network and like maybe meet people who are trying to do the same thing. Is like a really big deal, and it was one of the things I wanted to champion the most when I was working at Skybound.
That's so exciting. So, in addition to the stuff that you've done in animation, you've also worked in comedy in the digital space. So, Can you talk about God of Work? Because I've watched all of it and it's hilarious. And you directed the series with incredible performers that got so much attention, and it's hilarious and fun and short and well acted, and just like it's so fun. And I feel like we're missing a lot of fun, so I was delighted to get to watch it.
I am so happy you watched all of it, because I sent you the link. I was like, this is an hour long. Like, I don't know if she's going to have the time. But it was It is what I like to call the most aggressive. We made a show within a show and didn't tell anybody until like a week before. I got approached by Gerard and Emily, who are both in the show. They are the co-creators of the show. And they were like, hey, I had been directing all these sketches and I'd done Deserted. So everyone knew I was directing and I'm like running around and they're like, hey, so we have an idea for a show within our show. And I was like, okay. And they're like, we want to do a narrative show for X-Play that is about video game characters in their off time. Like when their game has come out and they're done working, where do they go? And so they created this fake temp agency that's supposed to be like The Office, right? It's a mockumentary where it's like famous video game characters are just sitting around having to do menial tasks till their next game comes out. And some of them never get their next game. So it's supposed to be this balance of like humans and video game characters. So our main character is Kratos, and played by Gerard. And they were just like, we have this idea. What do you think? Do you like The Office? And I was like, oh, I love The Office. I own the entire box set. It was one of my favorite shows growing up, like as a teenager. And I became obsessed with doing it. And it's again one of these examples of I got told about it and then we started doing it immediately. We had secret rooms in like the basement of the studio at G4. We would just meet in this room and we were like, oh, it's our writer's room. And the showrunner of X-Play, Michael, he was basically like, yeah, go do it, go do it. And he'd come in and we broke out the whole show. We came up with all these ideas, and again, Michael was just like, go for it, write it. We all wrote it, and as we're getting closer and closer, we basically stole part of our X-Play budget, like $75,000 out of the X-Play budget, and was just like, hey, so we're hiring, like we just went for it. Like we sat down with the line producer, we had all the scripts, we had already reached out to casting and started contracting talent, just things on the side so that the wheel is moving. Yeah. So it's way too hard for anyone to be like, no, don't do that. Or, oh, well, we need oversight, which again, this is the opportunity of going through like a digital, not as established company. It gave us this freedom of like, there was too many things happening for a company like this to really like try to put its finger in and be like, what are you making? What are you doing? We don't like that joke. They didn't have the capacity because we were running so fast. I mean, our first writer's room for the show was in February, and we shot it all in May. So we didn't have any time. And it's a lot of costumes and special effects, and we had to have flats built, and we had to do table reads, and we only had 5 days of shooting, and we ended up doing like 19 pages a day because we were running around with multicam.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's...
That's incredible. Also, just to know that, like in the same conversation, you're talking about Deserted, where it took...
I made days. Deserted in February.
And it took 4 days in the desert for one 3 minutes with one person in a car in the desert. And you did an entire comedy series with, I don't know, 10 episodes or something, like a lot of episodes, many episodes, with a huge cast and special effects all over in such a short amount of time and such an intense schedule. Just like that you're able to do both and get quality from both is really incredible. So
I will say in both cases, and specifically with God of Work, it would not have been possible without the team. They're like, I'm not joking. It felt like a huddle. Like it was like, all right, everybody, like 2 weeks before I was melting because I, again, was an execution producer. So everybody else, really funny, really talented, great actors. They were all great. They just weren't set people. So I was like, okay, this is what I need. And like, I assigned people roles. I was like, I need you to be in charge of script notes, and I need you to print out sides, and I need you to manage sound and all the, you need to tell me if something's going wrong here. And we just, like, it's not a joke, but like 2 days before the weekend before we shot on Monday, so like Thursday, I break down and I'm like, I need an AD. And I'm telling Gerard, who he has a friend named Michael Barity, and he was like, okay, I've got a guy, and I'm really nervous. I don't know this person. It's like if I called you, Jessica, was like, hey, can you come be my AD? Like 2 days before a huge 96-page shoot.
Yikes.
With, like 27 talent.
Yeah.
And no time for mistakes. And Michael comes in. He had never AD'd really to this capacity either. But he sat down, and the first thing he said in a call with me was, what's your favorite candy? And I was like, okay.
We like this guy.
Yeah. It turned into and I explained the way I like to do sets, which you saw as well. More as a director, I'm this way, less as a producer, but I'm like, this is my wedding. I am the bride. Like, unless there is a problem on the day of my wedding that only I can solve, I don't want to know about it. Like, don't tell me my wedding is ruined. Come to me with like, hey, by the way, the flowers didn't show up, but we're doing XYZ. And he is incredible at that. He doesn't come to me with problems that are unsolvable. He comes to me with like a bunch of solutions and what do I want to do? Yeah. Which was the only way we got through this. Like, we didn't have someone cast. He casted someone the night before. Like, we had someone come in who had bailed, and we had to get another famous person to come in. Like, there was chaos that I didn't know about. Yeah. And we had 2 units and no time and all his hair and makeup. Like, Gerard was in 4 hours of hair and makeup every day. Yeah. And then I'm in it. They wrote me in it. So there's like a 12-person scene. We have we had to do a coverage 12 shot. It was insane. And I was directing it, and I'm in it. Yeah. And it's one of our longer scenes too. And I remember yelling at our writer, who's also in that scene. I was like, Jake, what did you do to us? Like, how am I supposed to direct while we're all in the scene? And it was like trust with our camera guys. Like, we all studied The Office. I followed every rule that the DP of The Office had set, which then transitions into what is set on Abbott and Parks and Rec. Like, all of these rules that this guy created, I sat down, read all of them. We never stepped on it. The only thing we really added that's different than like the traditional mockumentary on like an NBC is we have video game sound effects because the rule is you don't have music in mockumentaries. That's what like helps sells it. But I was like, the comedy is funnier if we have like the ding or like the coin sounds or like any of the video game sound effects to make it feel like that's just part of this world. And we kind of stole that from Grey's Anatomy because like the elevator dings are like so iconic. Yeah. That I was like, I want to punctuate with a sound that would only be in video games. And I think like those little things, the like maneuvering, the massaging is what makes it feel so good. And it's one of those projects that 5 days for 96 pages.
That's insane. I didn't know that. It's so good. You have no idea. Wow. Yeah. No, and it's fun. And I really love hearing that you like read all the rules and incorporated them because it feels so much in that style, but it also has its own world that you clearly have like created the rules of this world. And there, there's just like moments from it that I'm going to remember in a year, which is always like a test for me of like, oh yeah. Like the skeleton crying got me so hard. And there's just,
we literally brought in stop motion animator to do it.
It was totally worth it. I completely appreciate it. So I just really think you got to like show off in that one in a really fun and effective way.
And I got to go to Comic-Con for it. I got to be on a Comic-Con panel for it. And I mean, watching everyone watch a pilot I made was a really, the height of a career moment for me as someone who had gone to Comic-Con for 7 years straight. Like, I got to be on a panel and introduced as a director, and then people all clapped after they saw my thing. And it was, it's not the validation I was ever getting, so it wasn't why I was doing it, but it's something that you're like, oh my God, it's real and it's happening and I'm doing the thing. And I was talking about how deserted I look back and I'm like, oh, there are all these things I wish I had done. And like, oh, if I could tweak that in the edit or if I could do that in the thing, like, I think that all the time when I watch it because it was a big learning experience. It was things I had no idea how to do, which again, happy I did it. But with Gotta Work, it was everything in my wheelhouse. So the things that I think about when I watch it again is like, dang, we really only had one take of that. Like, I wish we could have done it again because I know we could have, like, the camera wouldn't shake there or this person would have landed the mark better. But it is nothing about, like, oh, it's not like somebody's scale failed. It's just like we didn't have time. Some of these shots are just one shot. Like, that's it. That's all we got.
Yeah, I think it feels really alive because of that, because you can tell that everybody is aware and locked in. And like, you know, of course mistakes happen because I'm not saying I saw mistakes, but like, of course, I'm sure you can feel like, oh, we could have made that, tweaked it a little bit. But there's something special about like, we're doing it so fast. There's no time for second guessing. And there's a cool energy that comes with that.
And everyone's so on it. Like, the set changes are crazy because Kratos like destroys the set, and like, we are not shooting in order. Like, it's insane. We had to like tear the set down, put it back up, tear the set down, put it back up.
Jeez, that's crazy.
So,
wow.
You know, shout out to production design, shout out to our makeup artists who are also changing people. Like, I physically was being changed while looking at a monitor for my scene because they're putting makeup on as I'm like calling action. We just didn't have any of this time, and you know, we made a thing, and then G4 Comcast, Daddy Comcast was like, wait, what? You guys made a narrative show? Like, what's happening? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, the first narrative. Yeah, they're like, the first narrative show on G4. And I was like, yeah, we did it. And
you did it. It's done. You're welcome.
But to kind of also tie back to like how shitty people can be in this industry, our line producer, the day before, Friday, before the Monday, right? He looks me in the face and he goes, it better be worth it. And I just, those are the things that people say to like, I felt specifically because I was a woman, like it felt very much like, good luck, sweetie. Like,
oh my gosh.
And then of course the production team sends me a bottle of whiskey and like, you did it at the end. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
That makes me so angry, but also so happy that you then got like lauded at Comic-Con. Like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, eat it. And they didn't help. They weren't our production team. I made everyone on X-Play be our production team because we were doing it in secret.
Because you're like, we're just going to do what we want to do and you're going to pay for it. And it's going to be great.
Yeah, we were like, don't mind that.
We've already done it. Don't worry about them.
Don't worry about it.
Something I like to do on this podcast is ask for a creator's challenge. So the idea is like, you think of something that anybody who's listening who's a creative could do that they could just like do in 10 minutes. So it's like just a creative exercise, no real, you know, it's like with whatever you've got. So what's something you would like challenge people to do to just like do the tiniest baby step of creation? Because I think it's very easy for people to get overwhelmed right now with like the bigness and the like, I don't have the resources, I don't have the time or the money or the anything. So what's something like, what's the smallest fun thing you can think of challenging somebody to do?
If you are a creative and you are like, God, I can't do anything, I would suggest, number one, to open a voice memo note or record even yourself if you like to see yourself, and tell your craziest personal story to yourself. I think like adamantly, so that way you can practice your beginning, middle, and end, and you can really think about like how you've lived in a story. Because to me, the creative process can just come and go, right? Like you can get blocked up and you can feel like you can't do anything, but when you can relate storytelling to yourself, I think it's incredibly helpful and inspiring. Like being able to tell the story of like driving alone in the desert, and like that can shake something free to me. And it's a super simple, like, I'm just practicing how to pitch. I'm practicing how to tell a story. I'm remembering a thing that probably I should remember in log, like if I haven't written it down. And you can do it writing as well. Like you don't have to record your voice, but like, I think telling your own story can help really put you in a position of creativity for anything else.
That's incredible. I love that. That's perfect. Thank you. And also tying that into Deserted is such a smart way to like wrap that up.
No, and like hunger, right? These are two
hunger.
incredibly
You're like,
personal
this is
things.
what I'm going through, literally right now. And that's so powerful. I think that's part of why it makes it, why what you create is so like right here. And it's not exactly, it doesn't have to be raw, but it feels very present and important and here. And vibrant and vital. And I think that's very exciting to me. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Also
you.
Congratulations on your upcoming variety article about a podcast you worked on. So what's up with that?
So we a podcast I produced called San Miguel Kidnappings. It was produced by Skybound and Audible. Got nominated for the Clue Awards, which is the True Crime Awards for Outstanding Podcast. This just happened at the beginning of September, so the awards were yesterday for us, but September, was it 7th? In Denver, and it was just really exciting to be nominated. San Miguel Kidnappings is about this 10-year kidnapping spree that happened in San Miguel de Allende, which is outside of Mexico City, and it is like this beautiful, magical town. Like, I'm sure you've seen pictures of it. They are the ones who like put lanterns up. They have hot air balloons. Like, it's gorgeous. It is like one of the most expat-friendly, touristy areas, and there was just 10 years where there was a kidnapping season where 1 or 2 people would get kidnapped and held for ransom. And it's kind of about the corruption and like what the reality is, and is the person they arrested the real person who did it, or it's like, it just, the story is one of these threads that you keep pulling and you're like, oh my God. And now we're in, now we're talking about Cuba, now we're talking about Chile, and we're talking about Pinochet and like all of these massive like FPMR, but the movements of like the communist movement in South America. And you're like, how does this have to do with a kidnapping ring? And it's like, exactly. It just keeps, it keeps pulling. And it was really exciting to make. I worked with like an incredible post-production team, incredible talent. Carla Souza is our narrator, and she nails it every time. It was an honor to work with like Chileans and Mexicans and all these people who are really close to the story as they get to tell it and be like, this is a real thing that feels so, there's prison breaks with helicopters and like shootouts with like missile launchers. And it just starts by being like, this one guy got arrested for this kidnapping ring. And you're like, oh.
So much more.
And I'm a true crime fan, so it was really exciting to jump in and like work with Eric Galinda and Roger Vea to like make this project. They are incredible journalists and writers, so it was just like a really big, exciting thing that you make and you never really think about where it's going to go. Especially when you work with something like Audible, you're not in charge of what gets submitted to where, or you just like randomly find out. So Variety reported on it. And we didn't win, but it was just an honor to be nominated and like to be considered.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
So, as you move forward, what do you want to, you want to focus on directing? Are you also trying to be producing more? Are you trying to drive things? And like, where should people follow you? Where should they reach out to you if they want to work with you? What do you want to work on? What are you excited about?
So yeah, I'm focusing on directing. I am always going to be a producer because I think in some aspects to be an independent filmmaker today, it does feel like you need to have some producing chops. And I'm not bad at it. So I keep that in my wheelhouse. So, also just like, quite frankly, producing pays, directing doesn't always pay. And as I like move forward, I'm really kind of launching my own independent studio, where I'm going to focus on commercials and bigger projects that kind of cross over digital and traditional film and TV, because I have, I think, a really unique experience in both spaces, and I just want to start championing more out-of-the-box collaborations between the two, because I think that is our future, and I'm actively working towards this marriage of how can you tie together like traditional film and something like Twitch. And, excitingly, we're in conversations, we're talking about it. It seems like there's a lot of interest from both sides. And my future, I don't really know. I just keep taking on projects. I'm looking at another short. We have Safe and Sound coming out, hopefully, and a bunch of festivals. I'm actively working on features that I want to go. But, with this industry, you just got to keep pushing forward. And I do feel like a chef who has like a million things cooking. And it's like one of them is happening and I got to run over here and I got to do this. So that's kind of where I'm at, is like, I want to be as busy as possible. And if you want to work with me and make something cool, anything, any range of thing, or if you're like, can I make this? I would love to talk to people. I'm at Gabrielle.m4.thomas. That's my Instagram handle. And I am I don't know when this is coming out, Jessica, but there will be a website in which you can like contact me for a consultation. You don't have to pay. I will literally just talk to you about your project. If you want notes, then we can talk about that. But like things like that. I want to be a champion for new upcoming voices. I want to be someone who's making fresh and exciting, not content. I don't want to make content. I want to make fresh and exciting.
We need a better noun for what we make.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
I want to tell stories.
It just comes through a different medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm looking at storytelling, and I'm looking at setting up my own little production house here. So, and I am like, we are doing that. So it's not really.
It is happening. This is happening. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to your ride and following along with everything you do and working with you again for sure.
Yes, of course.
So, okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Do we cheers again?
Yes, please. Okay. Thank you so much. And cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
Join the community and share your creative challenges on Instagram and Facebook at Creators Cafe by Kika Labs. And also check out my website, kikalabs.com, KIKALABS.com, to sign up for the mailing list so you always know when a new podcast is released, and to check out my coaching and digital courses to help you be a more confident and joyful creator.